it is time for them to be transferred, they move so that others can also grow. Mr. Chairman, with this, I once again like to congratulate my friend for his nomination. I have confidence and trust that he will do that which is right for this country. He is a man, what you see is what you get. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, your response to.
Well, Chair, what I will simply say is that, for example, because he's mentioned the police, there are 3 tiers of 3 groups within the police service. And as you may know from article 200 all the way to 205, where it talks about the Ghana Police Service, it is the president that has the sole prerogative to promote individuals from ACP upwards. That's Assistant Commissioner of Police upwards. Then you have from, I think, superintendent up to the ACP2 can be done only by the police council. Then you have from the recruits all the way to chief inspector, that one is done by the police administration. So because of these 3 tiers, some largely are not in the hands of the senior men. But like you rightly said, these are things that is worth looking into, and I can assure you, my honorable colleague, I will ensure that fairness and equity is done. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Dominic Nitiwul.
Welcome back to Parliament. Yes, but welcome back to Parliament. I'm not in Aba. The chiefs will charge me. My honorable friend, Honorable Muntaka, the nominee, I've known you in Parliament here over the last 16 years. I worked with you in opposition for 8 years. I also worked with you in government for 8 years. Hopefully, once God gives us life, we'll work together for another 4 years. You in government, me in opposition. Then after that, we'll exchange rules again. But let me congratulate you, sincerely. And I'm very happy for you. There are reasons why I'm happy for you. You know them. So I'll congratulate you sincerely. I'm going to ask you public interest questions. Just simple public interest questions. Honorable, my first question is about professionalism of the 10 agencies under your ministry, all of them. I want to find out from you and to say that whilst asking this question, particularly the Ghana Police, in ranking them over the period, I would say in West Africa, over the last 8 or even 10 years, if they are not the best, then they will be the second across West Africa. It's clear. People who come here, go to other countries, they would rank our police and others, immigration. If they are not the best, they'll be the second best. But there's still more room for improvement. We don't just want them to be the best in West Africa or Africa, but the world. So there are still concerns that citizens have that I believe I want to put to you and find out how you would address those citizens. The current Inspector General of Police and his team, the POMAC group, went and visited drivers, visited other people. In 2021, they took over to interact with them because of those same concerns. How are you going to ensure that motorists are not stopped on the way and harassed by agencies under your jurisdiction or your ministry, either on the road, in their houses, or any other place? Also, the few ones who will stop people and pick something from them, money in particular, how do you intend to ensure that we eradicate that in forever? It should not be part of it. That's the professionalism I'm talking about. Added to that, it's still part of professionalism, so it's one question. Added to that, how do you intend to ensure that agencies that work under your ministry, when it comes to land issues, only act lawfully, but not because somebody has the might or somebody has the stature in society. These two things, they are all around professionalism, and they are public interest things. People suffer a lot in this country because of these two things. Motorists, people get beaten on the roadside. I have serious examples that maybe later I will discuss with you. But I want you to tell the public how you will address these issues so that by the time you leave office, these issues are not there any longer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I mean, my honorable colleague has been a defense minister for 8 years, so he really knows what he's talking about. Yes, I agree with you. You and I have been in Pan-African Parliament, so we travel across the continent. And sometimes when you get to some other countries and you look at their police, you then begin to appreciate what you have, despite the challenges that continue to confront us. I agree with you. Fortunately, in the handing over the transition document, it shows that we've started using body cameras at the police. 800 is in their hand, and about 30,800 is being procured. And according to the fact that I saw, it says that the procurement process is complete. One of the things that I would do through the police council, remember, I'll just be a member of the police council, where truly with these experts will put and fashion how to safeguard all of us. We will ensure that if you are a police officer that you have to step out, then you have to have your body camera on. So that it takes away all the ambiguity and the troubles. Because when you put the body camera on, everywhere you are being recorded. Not only you and your environs. So that if you are on the road extorting money, it will show. If you are brutalizing others, it will show. Whatever other thing that you are doing, the body camera will record and it will show what you are doing. So I believe that the hierarchy of almost all the agencies are also concerned when they hear some of these complaints, and they've been making frantic efforts to make sure that it goes down to the barest minimum. And we must also admit, in the what do you call, some time now, you don't see much of this harassment on the road, but you still see packets of it. We must do everything to make sure that they remain professional. And the only way to take this ambiguity, in my view, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair, is to have the body camera on and then insist and make sure that everybody adheres to it. Secondly, with regards to the land issue, all of us have been victims. I've had an incident of where you legitimately acquire a land and then you are called that, some guys have come on, and then you call the police. The police that you call are on their way to the place. You get there, and another person have called the police, also called police, and both are coming from the same station. And I was wondering, how did this happen? That I will call from one station, police move, the same station, another person calls, they move, and they came and met there, two of them, two vehicles, and they were all from the same station. I said, okay, then let us all go to the station. And yet, me, who have legitimately acquired mine, I'm holding my document. The other person who called the others, he is not there, but he was able to call the police to come. And then you go to the police, now they realize it is you. Who is the other person who called you? Oh, no, that one, you see, I cannot divulge that to you. I said, what is that? And then, so what you are saying is a legitimate thing. And you've seen people lose their legitimate land. And I mean, with this land, I believe that, Mr. Chair, I know when the Minister for Lands, the nominee for lands comes here, we may have to fast track the proper documentation of all the lands in the country because they are digitalized. I can tell you, and I'm sure Chair is aware of this, where someone, in trying to beat the system, went and backdated the document and said that he bought the very land that I said I bought in 1995. But he paid the monies in Ghana cedis. When in 1995, we didn't have Ghana cedis. And that's how the person got caught. Because he said he paid it in Ghana cedis. And in 1999, there was no Ghana cedis. So you see these things are really happening. But like you rightly said, with professionalism, these are experts. I would demand that the professionalism, that the standard that they've set for themselves, they should hold themselves to it. And I can assure you, honorable colleague, that I know it's not going to be easy, because that will require a change of attitude, change of behavior, a mindset. But we'll dare and make effort to get them to be professional. And I'm sure once they are professional, most of these things, even if they don't fizzle away, you will have very minimum of it. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yes, just one little question on the professionalism. Will you consider setting up, I know the police already have it, immigration, all the agencies have it, but will you consider setting up a complaints unit under your ministry itself and uplift it to the status of a director, where citizens can go and complain direct without being intimidated, or they have that feeling that they will be intimidated? If there's not one, will you consider doing that?
Mr. Chairman, I mean, this is a very legitimate thing. I've had that serious concern. You know, currently what the police, what they do is that they, when something happens, then the police themselves will say they have the police professional, what do you call it, they have the PIPs, where they will be investigating the issue. I believe that we need to have an independent body that composed with other persons, not necessarily police alone, investigating these complaints. The Standard Bureau, the Independent Police Standard Bureau, that we've seen in other jurisdictions, we need to be able to do that. And together with the hierarchy of the police administration, we'll take steps to do that. And Mr. Chair, my colleague was right. I remember when the 7 young men in my constituency were shot and killed. And then I remember the then Minister of Interior came to Parliament and said, Honorable Muntaka, we are going to investigate. I say, I've had many of that have been investigated by the police and I never heard anything. I insisted, and then that push for an independent committee to be set, which was chaired by a High Court judge. And the results was different, because it came out that they were not armed robbers, they were just killed. And we had to even pay compensation. So there are examples of when we insist that the police alone should not investigate, actions have been taken. I must also admit, there have been instances where the police themselves also investigated alone and have been able to find culprits and punish them. But I believe that if we are able to have an independent police standard bureau, or it's like we've seen in other jurisdictions, it will put the trust of the ordinary citizen more to be able to call and make the complaint than just to leave it with the police. And not only the police, it's the same with the prisons, the same with the National Fire Service, the same with immigration and other agencies that are under the Ministry of Interior. So I can assure my colleague that we'll do that. But whether to do it in the ministry is something that I will look at its possibility. Maybe a director to ensure that those agencies have, because remember, these are professional bodies that are well trained and they are experts. All we need to do as a team is to ensure that they are acting right and they are doing what is right. Once we get them to do that, maybe I can designate a director who will be supervising to ensure that all of them set this thing. But I doubt whether it will be useful to have it at the ministry, where if something happens in the prison, you call the ministry. If something happens at the fire service, you call the ministry. At NADMO, you call the ministry. At all the other, call the ministry. I think it may be too difficult, unwieldy. But we can get these institutions to do that and make sure that those committees or bureaus that they may set will be working and working effectively. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions?
No. So the second question so the second question is also a public interest question. Ghana has been consistently ranked by many organizations to be the second most peaceful country in West Africa over the last 5 years. It tells you that agencies under your watch and others who work with them are doing a very, very good job. The public will want to know from you, or I want to know from you, what steps, specific steps, are you going to take that will ensure that Ghana does not regress backwards to those olden days when people are free to sleep in their houses. People are scared because maybe armed robbers are coming to attack them, or highway robbery will be on the increase. And secondly, how will you ensure that the country, Ghana, is still the destination for many, many people because it's peaceful? Because that's what we sell. We don't have the population like other countries, but we sell ourselves because we are very peaceful people. And our country has been peaceful. People go out and cry in the night, they are okay. I want to find out how you, because your ministry, you have agencies that have the direct responsibility for law enforcement. If they work, we are okay. If they don't work, we are in trouble. So I want to know the specific steps you are going to take with your agencies to ensure that they get it, including steps to ensure that morale within your services are high. Including steps to ensure that morale within the services are high. Because if morale is high, they'll give you the best. So link the two. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I will start with the second one, which is easier to talk about. I mean, I'm happy that we all know that morale, once their morale is high, I mean, they'll give you the best. And obviously, having known the finance minister and we worked for all these years, I will do everything humanly possible to let him appreciate this, that he will be able to rope in more money. If the agencies under the ministry that I'm going to be a team are working very effectively and the country is so peaceful, people are willing to come in and invest, he will be able to rope in more money. So he must ensure that we're able to support them with their emolument allowances and what have you. But I know morale is not only about money. It's also about fairness and just. If you have a system where everybody believes that I'll be treated right, even when I go wrong, when I'm going to be punished, it will be measured. It will be based on the level of my mistake or my crime. It will raise the morale of people. So I'll be looking at that, and I'll put a lot of premium in trying to get the team that I'll be working with to ensure that the morale is high. But when it comes to the specific things, Honorable colleague, you are the defense minister, I keep saying this, and you know we have the national security, strategic plan. And in that plan, ours is to have, ours, when I say ours, I'm talking about where, by the grace of God, if this committee approves of me, with my team, ours is to ensure our internal safety. And you know that we need to have the national policing strategy by the Ghana Police Service. We need to be able to have the land borders strategy for the Ghana Immigration Service. We need to have the narcotic control framework for the Narcotic Control Board. We need to have the small arms and live weapons strategy for managing small arms and guns. We need to be able to have a national strategy for the prisons, the National Fire Service, fire preventive strategy. These are the specific things that I will task my team, that everyone who is heading his area should ensure that that strategy is in place and that strategy is being followed. If we can have that strategy, which is there, and I know you have been at the Defense Ministry and you've done a lot of work already, and the document is there. I, as a member of the team, will just be coordinating to ensure that all the team members are doing their work right, and we'll have a timetable that shows at every point in time where we should be with our strategy and what they are doing specifically within that strategy, and periodically review and monitor progress. Once we're able to do this, Chairman, I can assure you we'll remain safe. People will be willing to come and invest in our country. There will be better opportunities to be able to meet the vision and aspiration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the sense media to represent him. So this will be the specific things that we'll do to make sure that every one of them, NADMO, will have, that's the National Disaster Management Organization, their strategy on prevention. How do we, when disaster happens, when emergencies come, what do we do? All those things will make sure that it's in place and be monitoring to make sure that they are following through. Once we do this, Mr. Chair, I'm sure we will be safer and our country will remain safe. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, so I'll ask my last question.
Very well.
The security, the reason why I asked about this is also because of the happenings of late where young men can invade places and stop people. That's why I asked this question as well. So put that at the back of your mind. Mr. Nominee, the last question I want to find out from you has to do with recruitment. There are many people out there who think, wrongly do, that, oh, you don't need certificate to enter any of the security service. You can just go, just work for a political party, and you can be recruited. I'll recruit our boys, do this. I want to ask you a specific question. Will you recruit unqualified people into the Ghana Police Service, into the Ghana Immigration Service, into the Fire Service, and other security services?
Unqualified persons, no.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honourable members, I will give the floor to Honourable Mahama Shaibu. You have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I'm most grateful. Leader, Honourable Nominee, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
A very well-deserved appointment. One of the critical agencies under your ministry in the criminal justice delivery is the prison service. They have a huge responsibility of safekeeping, reforming, and transforming prisoners. In recent times, we've had very negative news about these three key responsibilities. What measures, what plans do you have to reform the prison service generally to meet the very basic responsibilities they are charged with? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, as a country and as part of our national security strategy, we have the prison reform strategy for the Ghana Prison Service. And I must admit, even from the few briefings when I was preparing for this today's hearing that I've seen, honestly, they've been left to be deep orphans. And sometimes all of us tend to forget about them. And that could be the weakest link in our strategy to keep this country safe. I can assure you that I am going to pay a lot of attention to the Ghana Prison Service as part of the team member. One of the things, if you look at the manifesto of the NDC's SSC General Mahama vision was to even change the name from prisons to corrections, so that even the mindset may begin to change. But I can tell you that there are so many examples that we can see around in the UK, in the Singapore, even in our own neighboring East Africa, Kenya, where they are using private partnership. They are using PPP, public-private partnership, to deal with most of the issues in the prisons. I'm reliably informed that when you go to Kenya, every number plate that you see on a car is coming from the inmates, because they give opportunity for industry to build these factories within the prison. It serves multiple purposes: training of inmates, it gives them skills, it gives them income. And obviously, because they are prisoners, the income that, or the payment that are made are not as if the factory was set up outside. This is an area that we need to look at. Because the Nsawam prison, for example, has vast land. You go to Ankafo, there's vast land. If we are able to do that with government support and the rest of us in the multi-sectorial nature of what we are doing, it is going to help them. Because currently, even feeding, sometimes when I heard it yesterday, I was shocked that we can treat each other that badly. Today, the rationing for a prisoner in Ghana is 1 cedi, 80 pesos. For the whole day. 1 cedi, 80 pesos. And I doubt, with the greatest respect to these members of the committee and those listening to us, even the cats and dogs in our houses, how much food do we give them? That will put our own compatriots, because of one mistake or the other, in trying to correct them, we feed them with 1 cedi, 80 pesos, and expect that they will not have communicable diseases, they will not have skin diseases, they will look healthy, they will come out reformed. No. We are rather putting them in an area where we are expecting them to come out more criminal than they went in. And that is why I was giving Mr. Chairman, this committee, the assurance that I will pay attention. And let me also take the opportunity, Mr. Chairman, to thank the Pentecost Church for the wonderful thing that they've done in supporting the Ghana Prison Service. They are helping them to build almost 4 or 5 prison camps to enable them embark on agriculture, farming and other activities. Had it not been the prison agriculture project, I doubt even if we will not have the huge crisis in our hand, because the prisoners will wake up and there will be no food. And I can imagine how many prison officers we have that can prevent them from crashing the gate. So I think it's a very serious thing, and I assure my colleague I'll pay attention to it. The other thing is that you remember His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the last time he had the opportunity between 2013 and 16 or 17, this remand prison project that he embarked on in Sawam, to separate remand prisoners from the main prisoners. Unfortunately, that project is still not completed. It is something that I will pay attention to get, so that through that we can separate, not only in Sawam but in other prisons, separate remand prisoners from the other prisoners, so that it makes it easier. If every day you wake up and you see them as remand, they are under remand. They are not normal prisoners. You cannot forget about them, because then you know that you have a number of people in the remand prison. The other thing that I think we can do to really help the Ghana Prison Service is that, like, we have the High Court in Sawam, where the court is so close to the prison. It takes away the burdensome of trying to move them from one point to another. Already we are not allocating so much money to them. The little they have to sometimes beg the Ghana police for vehicle to collect inmates to court. And because of those challenges, remand prisoners get locked up and got forgotten. So that court, the High Court, just by the Nsawam prison, is so helpful. We'll see how, together with my colleague from the Attorney General, how we can work together with the Chief Justice to see how we can replicate this in some of the other prisons, like Ankafo and others that have larger inmates. And the last one is about the Justice for All. You know, the Justice for All project was one that was so helpful, where judges move into the prisons and deal with especially remand cases and get it expedited. I think that it's another thing that, together with my colleague, the Attorney General, and the Chief Justice, will look at how we can use that Justice for All to decongest our prison. I'm sure when we take these strategies, partnership with the PPP, ensuring that we feed them well, help them to get skills and what have you, I'm sure it will lessen the burden that we are putting on the men and women who are keeping them, and also our compatriots, in a very dehumanizing manner that they find us. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any further question? Before you come in, I will plead with the Honorable Nominee. Just be brief in your answers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, honorable nominee has information overload. Thank you, Chairman. All said and done, except and unless you are incarcerated life in prison, you will eventually come out. Reintegration has been a big challenge for most prisoners who are out of prison. Because of societal norms, they find it difficult to even live within the same community they were picked up. What plans would you have to promote a process of rehab, reintegrating prisoners into society when they are out of prison? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we work multi-sectorial, especially with the national media, what do you call it, there's the National Media Commission, the NCC, National Commission for Civic Education, because sometimes what we are saying, you will never know how real it is until it's getting to someone closer to you. I remember when we were young, one of our relatives was sent to the Kumasi prisons. I think he did about 3 years or 4 years. When he finished his sentence, and then my late father went and brought him home. It's like as if our father has brought some kind of demon in the house. It's like everybody keeps looking at him in a way. Before we realized, he left. And unfortunately, some months later, he was killed by the rail line in the Dogomba line, and we have to go and pick his body. But when he came back, if he had been welcome as a member of the family, I don't think he would have sneaked out to go and continue his ways. But the other thing also is that, we have young people also in the prison. Some of them write their BEC there, some write their WASI. I'll be talking to my colleague and leader, Honorable Haruna Edisu, the Minister for Education, the possibility of setting up the TVET institution within the prison. Because you see, when you come out and you have a skill, even if those whom are not really welcoming, but you can find a job and every day get up and go, it minimizes the trauma that you are going through. I think together with this and the team that I'll be working with who are experts in this area, I'm sure if we get to implement some of the things that I'm talking about, we'll see huge improvement in the kind of stigma that goes with just being a prisoner. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Your very last question.
Very much so, Mr. Chairman. Leader, I know you already mentioned feeding 1.8 Ghana cedis, woefully inadequate. Indeed, you cannot even buy an egg. That is really serious. Now, tied to that one is overcrowding, and you also touched on it a little bit. But tell us, apart from the churches that you have applauded for coming in to help as part of their corporate social responsibility, what plans would you have in tackling these two issues? And on that note, let me wish you Allah's blessings.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I take this opportunity to call on other organizations, Muslim organizations, other Christian organizations, other non-governmental organizations, to see the inmates as human beings just like you and I. Because one thing that is real is that if we continue to rely on GOG, we will only be talking about the problem, we will never be able to deal with it because of how tight the kitty is. But if we all see that, yes, these are our own brethren, but for one reason or the other, they find themselves there, and we are willing to assist, I'm sure this will improve. But secondly, we need to also be exploring public-private partnership. I know that most prisons in America are private. People build a prison and the government rents as a way of decongesting, having in mind all the security concerns, making sure that it is good to keep and safe, and do not tamper with the national security strategy. They build it to meet the standard, and then government rent. That is a possibility. Some of the agencies I've seen in the briefing are sitting on very good prime line land, and they are now using it in exchange for some facilities. This is also an area that we can also exploit, because then we will then be able to get these things built either through our own benevolence or through this public-private partnership and decongest. And then also, you know, the prisons are in categories. We have maximum, medium, and whatever. We need to be able to do the separations very well, or for lack of better word, for the stratification, where you classify them properly. Because you may go to a place like maybe Ejura, and it's not congested. But you come to Nsawam, it's so packed, or Kumasi. Meanwhile, the kind of prisoners that you can keep in Ejura, some are in Kumasi prison, and you are keeping them in Kumasi prison, where the place is congested. When Ejura is not congested, we need to look at that. And together with the team that I'm going to be working with, we'll be looking at how to get all these things so that we'll decongest our prison. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I will now give the floor to Rita Naudole.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I wish to congratulate my leader for his nomination by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to the Ministry of Interior. Congratulations, leader.
Thank you.
Leader, as we are still on the prison service, they are in my constituency, and there is one issue that I have seen ongoing there. That is we're talking about inmates, but I want to talk about the prison officers. Their barracks is being pulled down. Officers have been made to go and rent outside. What plans do you have? And in the name of public-private partnership, what plans do you have? Is it that after the construction, the officers are going to be brought back to the barracks, or they are going to still remain in town? Because sometimes they have to work late in the night, and I believe being in the barracks will be a good thing for them. So what plans do you have to ensure that we'll have a barracks for the prison officers? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. What you're talking about hasn't come to my notice, but definitely is something that I have to go and look at. Because what I know with the public-private partnership is that before they even pull down that building, they will have built a standard facility where the officers will move in before they will even come and demolish this one. So if you have a situation where that has not been done and yet they are pulling down, then I think that may be wrong. But I will not be able to say tentatively what you are saying is whether it's accurate or it's not accurate, but it is worth looking into, and I can assure you that I will definitely look into that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. My second one is, what measures will you implement to ensure fire service responds promptly and effectively to fire emergencies? My reason for asking this one: recently in Saboba Senior High School, there was a fire outbreak in the girls' dormitory. I watched on TV and I was very sad because the fire service went in there and their equipments were not working, and so they had to rely on buckets of water to quench the fire. And I think that is not the best for us as a nation. What measures will you put in place to ensure that the fire tenders, either they'll have more or whatever equipments they are using will be maintained properly to serve us well? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This is another orphan within the team. In the team that I'm going to be part, this is one of the serious orphans. And I can assure you that when I was taking the brief, I felt very sad too. And it's an area that, Mr. Chair, I'll pay a lot of attention to. Because as all of us know, just as fire is good to cook, fire is also good to destroy. And the bottom line is that, I'm sorry to say this, Chair, all of us just think that God will take care of emergencies. God will take care of the negative things. Once every morning we wake up and we pray, everything will be okay. We don't want to to follow through with our strategy of what if there's fire, what do we do? And Mr. Chairman, with a greater respect, I've been in this house for over 2 decades, and even this room, I've started to do this, the assignment that you are doing severally. May God forbid, if now we hear a bomb, you just only hear Ajay and we'll all be scattered. Nobody will know where to pass. Nobody is telling us even where we are. In case there's an emergency, where to pass. There are no signs, there are nothing. Most of the extinguishers that you may see around, are they really working? Nobody knows. Until there's fire, then you go and lift it and realize that it is empty. Because we are not following through with the national strategy on fire prevention, which is part of our national security strategy. One of the things that you notice is that in the briefing, I realized that since 2015, thereabout, 2015, 2016, thereabout, government has not been able to procure any major equipment apart from just about 3 hydraulic, ladders. No fire tender has been procured in the last 9 or 10, almost 10 years. So what it means is that you and I are using vehicles. Even our vehicles that do not carry the kind of load that their work entails. After 10 years, how easy is it to use that vehicle? You wake up and come, try to start it, it will not. But that's the kind of virtually, for lack of a better word, obsolete equipment that we've left them with, and we expect them to be able to use it. And sometimes, unfortunately, with the citizen, out of emotions, we try to even beat the fire hostess because they've run to the place, then they are trying to start their gadget, it's not working, and then we say, you see, the fire is going on, look at what the fire service guys are doing. I can bet you, they are also not happy with the kind of equipment, but that is what they have. And because they are obsolete, the time that you need it, that's when it fails. But one of the things that, by the grace of God, as part of the team, I will be doing, together with His Excellency, to be able to meet His Excellency's General Mohammed's vision for the Ghana National Fire Service, is to ensure that we retool them, just as we stated it in our manifesto on page 186, thereabout. We retool them, we'll make sure that they have the necessary equipment so that they'll be able to protect us when the need comes. Look at the kind of market fires that we are having. It's so sad that the markets are built because they are with the local authority. They just don't care about fire certificates. Many of us here, people come to my house and when they see the fire tent, they say, hey, now this one too, what is that? Isn't it spoiling the beauty of the house? You are talking about your safety, and you are talking about beauty. So I think that all of us need to be very conscious and mindful. But I can assure you that, honorable colleague, this is an area that has been left as an orphan, and will definitely. And the sad thing is that with them, there's very little IGF they can raise, so it makes it more difficult for them. But by the grace of God, when this committee approves my nomination and I get to the ministry to join the team, we'll give it our very best to retool them so that they'll be able to protect all of us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I recognize a follow-up question from Jerry Shai.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Honorable Muntaka, congratulations.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up. In my constituency, Wejagbawe, the fire tender has not worked for umpteen years. I've heard you give assurances. But I'm also thinking, do they get risk allowance? And how much are we thinking of upgrading that, if at all? Because I witnessed the fire got a property in Bawe. We had to call the next constituency, Anyasutrum, to furnish us with their tender. At the time the tender came, the fire had already gutted the property. First of all, how do you intend to ensure that this is properly and comprehensively taken care of? Bear in mind the fire officers who take the risk to go, like you rightly stated. Some of them are actually ostracized and hooted at, and in fact, when I was there, they threw stones at us. So just want to know how you intend to deal with that comprehensively. And if you are giving assurances, whether you have intentions of giving us some deadlines.
Mr. Chairman, I really wish I could give a deadline. And Mr. Chairman, because
of members, let there be order so that we can take the answer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I really wish I could give assurance and even give timelines. And believe me, the timeline will have been yesterday, because these are institutions that are really suffocating. And I'm very happy that you brought a very important aspect of their challenge: the risk. Officers are dying because of inhalation of substance, smoke and what have you. Sometimes they get bent. Sometimes they fall and get injured. And when they do this to protect us, we don't even forget that we need to even take care of them. If you care to know, the Ghana National Fire Service do not even have a clinic of their own. They fall on the Ghana Police and the Ghana Health Service. And sometimes the bills, because of the refund bill, the delay in releases, these hospitals do not even want to receive them. So imagine a fire officer wakes up from his house, just like you and I have done, come to work, go to risk his or her life to try to protect us, then he or she gets injured. We don't have a facility to take care of him or her. They try to go and borrow money to get other help in other places. It takes months for us to refund. So one of the things that I can assure you is that because we have part of the national security strategy, we have a strategy for prevention of fire at the fire service that encapsulates almost all these things that are in there. Like the answer that I gave earlier, I will ensure that we follow through. The team members, everybody should follow through with what is in the strategy. Because if we follow the strategy, we will not be sitting here talking about some of the things that, because those answers will come by themselves. So that's the assurance that I can give you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Your last question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, my leader, having worked with you for 4 years in Parliament, I believe you in your interpersonal skills, and I know it's going to come to bear when you go to the ministry. I want you to assure us as members of Parliament that we will not come and queue too long at your door when we come to visit you, because some of us have experiences where you go to visit a colleague minister, you have to wait for about 3 hours, 2 hours, and I don't think that is the best. And so on that note, I want to wish you congratulations and the very best on your new appointment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm sure everyone around this table who have been in this house for the past 4 or 8 or 12, or when I was government whip and whip, no MP knocks on my door. The instruction for my secretary is that when MP comes, that is not your business. Whatever I'm doing in there, you let him or her come in. It is for me to say, oh, Honorable, can you give me 5 minutes or 10 minutes? So that at least I know the MP is there. It is not the business of my secretary to tell the MP to wait. I can tell you and assure you, my sister and colleague, I will take the same attitude to the ministry. When you come to my office, you will not have to wait. If you have to wait, maybe it's because you yourself will see that I'm doing something and I'll be able to give you time that if you have to go and come, but not to just come and the secretary will just tell you, wait, because instructions I always give. Just as when I was the chief whip, the instruction is that no MP comes and you, secretary, tell the MP what to do. Yours is to just tell the MP, go. When the person comes in and the person sees that whatever I'm doing, if I tell the MP, oh, I'll be done in an hour, I may be done in 30 minutes, I'll be done in 2 hours, then the MP decide, oh, then, Honorable, I will go and come, or I'll wait. But not for you to let the MP be waiting when I don't even know. That assurance I can give you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I will now give the floor to Honorable Patrick Yaobuama.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. And
Thank
leader.
you. And the Patrick.
Leader, let's do some business with the Narcotics Control Commission. It is estimated that about $21 billion will be generated from this business of medicinal cannabis. Last Parliament, we approved of the NACOP Act. And you are supposed to, God willing, inshallah, you'll be approved. Supposed to be, the minister is supposed to give effect to an LI towards the operationalization of that very important law. Ghanaians and the world will want to know, since it's a very big trade and you require a lot of investment in there, we want to understand your strategies on licensing, regulation, and the implementation of this very important law towards the realization of the objectives of this act for the good of this country, to drive lots of forex to show up our economy and our currency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm very aware of this, the bill. I remember the controversy that took us to even the Supreme Court, and then we came back to fix it. And it was level the regulation that was supposed to be laid and then get the 21 sitting days. This has not been done. My take on this will be, when I joined the team, obviously the NACO board is there, it will be there. The experts there will be there. Obviously, the new president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will be made aware of the law. And I believe that once it's in tandem with his vision for that sector, you can be rest assured I will lay it without delay. But obviously, I will have to listen to the expert there, and as a team, we'll make a definitive decision. And once it is in tandem with already the existing, it's about laying, I know very well my way around this house and how to get things done. So we'll surely do that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'm satisfied with your answers. Chairman, I don't have a follow-up on that, but I will go to my second question, which is on small arms. I have a lot of friends up north. One recently came from the States, drove to his father's village. Mr. Ndebugri's son, my mate at the law school. He said, when I get to Walwali, I have to speed and cross over to Bolga before I get to Zebila or Timonde, that's the village. There are a lot of unapproved routes, a lot of small arms in the hands of a lot of people. You talk to people, you say, when you go to Boko, the kind of arms you find there, in Kwanta, a lot of ethnic tensions, people have all sorts of arms. I'm sure you are aware. You are going to be in charge of internal security, basically. And the Small Arms Commission will be under your care or watch. There are a lot of unapproved routes. God willing, immigration will be under your care. Please, what can you tell Ghana or Ghanaians about some of the things you'll be doing to control the proliferation of small arms into our country? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The concern of my colleague is real. It's a big threat. And if we don't watch it, it can really escalate. And you see in the areas where there are conflict, sometimes you wonder where they get the guns from. But the interesting thing is that it's been noticed that most of these guns are coming through our borders and the port. And the Commission for Small Scale and Light Weapons, their challenge is they search manually. Just recently, let me take this opportunity to thank the German government for giving us an equipment that is able to detect guns by just bringing it closer to a vehicle. But it is only one. It is only one. But look at how large our borders are. Because we have a whole long stretch with Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, and Togo. and people use this. So they place it at the port. That machine is at the port. One of my first thing that I would do as a member of the team, when I joined the team by the grace of God and with your approval, is to see what steps we can take to acquire more of such gadgets. So that when you stop a vehicle, immediately you go around it, you can tell that there's a gun in there and to show you specifically within the vehicle where it is. If we do that, it will help even the movement around with it. Because sometimes they use motorbikes and they hide them, conceal them around the motorbike. And then when you stop them, before you realize the person is rather sitting on it. So you don't even know where it is hidden. But if there are gadgets that can help you to do that, will be so useful. We need to also empower the Peace Council, Mr. Chair. You see, all of us are taking the peace we have for granted. Our country is peaceful, so because of that, investors are happy to come. We are able to wake up and go around everywhere. I mean, I have Senate friends, Nigerian senators as friends, and each time they come to Ghana, one of the things that they tell me is that, Muntaka, you guys, do everything humanly possible to keep this peace that people have. Because they wonder that the way we move around, you don't look back and out. But if we don't build the peace, using Peace Council, and we leave Peace Council to be suffocating the way it is, the day that, may God forbid, challenges, major one comes, it will be difficult. Why are people keep wanting to keep those guns? They want to keep those guns because they think they can use that to protect themselves. We need to, and you know, my good friend and colleague, Article 270 of the 1992 Constitution bar us, even Parliament, from attempting to do anything about chieftaincy. It has to be done by the National House of Chiefs. Maybe we need to encourage the National House of Chiefs to call a national dialogue on chieftaincy and its future in our country. If we don't build peace around that, because it is those things that make people want to have guns. And lastly, Mr. Chair, pump action. It is very easy. If you have what do you call it, 10,000, you can buy the pump action and license it. So there's so much of pump action. It's one of the things that when I joined the team, we may have to review. Because we all think that, oh, it is a sad arms that it has to take only the Minister for Interior to authorize. After pump action, oh, you can easily acquire it. But they are equally arms that are dangerous. So these are some of the things that when I joined the team by the grace of God, together with the expert there, in mind with our national security strategy, we'll be putting in place to ensure that we at least minimize to the barest minimum the use of live arms. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I also don't have a follow-up on that.
Thank you.
The last question.
Very well.
On NADMO. They want to hear from you their promotions. Some of them are saying they've been sitting in one office for many years and they are not well equipped, and they want to hear your voice and believe in you that you do something different for them as Minister of Interior. On that note, let me wish the leader success at the Interior Ministry. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. God bless you too. Mr. Chair, when I took the briefing and I just realized why we are having most of the challenges that we have. One, we have a national security strategy on disaster management and we are not following through. We have this huge organization, NADMO, that we are not paying attention to. The steps, the law that we have is comprehensive enough. And if my memory serves me, it is Act 927. The Act 927. If you go there, Mr. Chair, you will see how nationally we need to have this emergency committee, regional and district. And it is, in the case of the national, it is multi-sectorial. Yet when there's something, when something happens, in our rush, then we're going to say, oh, we are forming interministerial. And And I always say, what? When COVID came, we went and set up interministerial. Now that was the function of NADMO. The same thing when the spillage, the Akosombo spillage happened, we went and set up interministerial. The more we do that, the more we weaken NADMO. Because it's like you are saying that you have an organization, like you have a vehicle. It has fuel, it is serviceable, then you call Uber, that they should come and lift you. Anytime you want to go out, then someone come and say, but what about this vehicle? Why is this problem? Oh, the vehicle is good. Let me start it for you to see. You start it, it's working. You move it, but you park it. And then every day you are calling for Uber. That's what we are doing. So, yes, it's an area that we need to pay attention, because if we do it right, and one of the things that I will do specifically is that when I join the team in NADMO must let us as a group see quarterly, are the district complying, are the regions complying, and what are we ourselves doing nationally? Because if we can even meet just 4 times in a year to ask ourselves, in case of emergency, what do we do? I'm sure it will be the beginning of trying to deal with it. With the staffing, it is generally a problem within the security services, where people, you heard the first questions that came about promotion, about transfers, about their condition of service. It is an area that I will engage if by the grace of God, this committee approves of my nomination and Parliament does so, engage the finance minister for us to appreciate that those who protect us also matter. Because if they protect us well, like I said earlier, people will be willing to invest, and then that finance ministry will make more money. So it is important that we take care of them so that their morale is high, so that they'll be able to protect us and then protect the whole country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I proceed to recognize Honorable Brian Achampong, Doctor.
Thank you, Honorable, and congratulations. Thank you. My position on your qualification is consistent with Article 78 of the Constitution, except when the President, after this vetting, withdraws your nomination. I don't believe anything can stop you from being confirmed. You've been in this House for 20 plus years, your 6th term in Parliament.
Yes.
And therefore you are overqualified for the position. My questions are to get your views of some of the issues on small arms, promotions, and depoliticization of the services. These are the 3 categories that I want us to talk about. But before that, you mentioned that you worked with JICA briefly. It's not listed in your CV, if you can correct that, because it's a House of Records. And then also you listed Minister for Youth and Sports as a leadership position instead of employment, but that is a job, so you have to correct that on the CV. On the issue of small arms, in 2004, there were about 240,000 small arms usage in this country. That number surged in 10 years, in 2014, to 2.3 million small arms use. It is projected that in 2024, that number will be about 5 million. That projects to about 1 in 6 Ghanaians carrying a weapon. 1 in 6 Ghanaian carrying a weapon. Honorable Patrick Boama did hint on that question, and you gave a very general answer. But I want Ghanaians to have confidence in what you can do to stem this. We don't, as you have said repeatedly, when something happens, what will happen? We don't even have enough security people to stand such a mob action with weapons. And in this election, what I saw what I saw, the people that are carrying arms before, during, and after the elections, is not something that we should joke with. Honorable Minister, kindly give us an idea, if you can. If you can't, give us an idea what you can do. If 1 in 5 Ghanaians is carrying, or 6 Ghanaians is carrying a weapon, it's a dangerous territory. Give us an idea what you may want to do about this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I mean, the concern of my colleagues is genuine. And like I said, you are working, I'm going to join a team that is full of experts that are long years of experience and have experience of other jurisdictions. But as a member of the team, if I join, one of the major things that I want to do immediate is the introduction of IT to track who has been given gun and for what purpose was the gun given or approved for. But if you can have database that is computerized, with the touch of a button, I can know, maybe those of us around this table, who has been licensed to carry whether small arm or even larger arms. It will be the beginning to help in the national security strategy in terms of surveillance and knowing and tracking what people are using it for. As we speak, I want to believe that if, like you rightly said, you are projecting about 5 million, maybe if you go to the ministry, and I know you've worked at the National Security Ministry before, if you go there and you want to really put your fingers to who have really registered DS, even those who may have permit. It may shock you to know that you don't have the data that you can at a go look at. And I think that the starting point is that let us measure, because it is only when you measure that you can achieve. If we know who and who are truly holding it, then we'll be able to make our surveillance very effectively. Then, like I rightly said earlier, we need to make sure that we are really very serious with the proliferation. The entry points, where they are, when people are moving around with it. If we have these gadgets, I'm sure it is going to help us. And as a team, you know, the police are most of the time on the road or in the main community. They are more closer to your communities than probably maybe the small arm. Because if you look at the number of officers the commission has, they are fewer as compared to the police, Ghana Police Service. Collaboration as a team, I'm sure we should be able to minimize the proliferation and also be able to track even the usage. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
A follow-up on that.
Before the follow-up, Honorable Nominee, we all know Wabi. You are very intelligent, but let's keep the answers very brief.
I will make conscious effort to keep the answers very, very brief.
Thank you very much. Dr. Brana Champong, your next question.
A follow-up on that. Since we are in an operation recover mode, are you able to, when you take office, launch an operation recover small arms by the Ghana Small Arms, because it's frightening. And the figure that I mentioned, the Ghana Small Arms reports that about only 50% of that is the 2004 data, only 50% of that is registered arms. The rest are unregistered, illicit weapons. So can you launch a program? I mean, in advanced countries, they launch a program, tender in your weapon and get some cash, do this and get this thing, so that at least we can reduce the number of weapons in circulation. It's quite frightening.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chair, I can assure my colleague that with the team, we'll look at that, because we can get maybe non-governmental organizations that may be able to support us. We can grant amnesty, because some people may be having it, they are even afraid that it will be seen on them. Maybe when they wanted it, there was some reason why they wanted it. Now they have it, they can't register it, but they want to tender it, but they are afraid. We can give some amnesty window period for that, and probably look at the exchange for cash or exchange for some kind. But like I said, when I joined the team, we have more experts there, and we'll put our heads together to see what we can do in the retrieving. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nominee. I'm encouraged by this last statements of yours. Honorable Nominee, on the issue of promotions and transfers, promotions are usually based on time in grade and time in service. When the time comes, I'm supposed to serve 4 years, I move to the next rank. 4 years, I don't need the prompting of any person. I don't need it to look as though it's a favor from a superior. I've done my time and promotion is due me. Except for when there is a vacancy issue at the top, which in that case, you are paid by the rank that you have achieved. But because there's no vacancy, okay, you will have to wait to then fill the rank. I'm not sure if you understand the question. So I'm supposed to be 4 years at Lieutenant Colonel, 4 years, I get to Lieutenant Colonel, I'm Colonel. If there's no vacancy at the Colonel rank, I'm still being paid as a Colonel elect, but I don't have the position to occupy. But I've bid my time. Is it possible that you can ensure that promotions and in the police services or all the agencies under you is by time in grade and time in service? Because I've read reports of police people for political expediency. When they are due promotions, they don't get their promotions, and then their juniors are passing them by. That we can institute a policy of time in grade, time in service, such that when you hit that time mark, you get your promotion. And then on transfers in this country, Mr. Chairman, are seen as, in some cases, punishment. This is one question, promotions and transfers. Transfers are seen as a punishment. We will transfer you to somewhere the sun doesn't shine, is what you hear from your superiors. Honorable, can we find a mechanism where when you enlist into a service, you know that this is going to be my operational area, that you elect. And once you are confirmed into that operational area, that I elect to be in the Volta region, that I will operate within the Volta region, so that it doesn't be that you are from Accra or you are from Waliwali and you are transferred to Accra, and that is all where you want to live your life. Yes, I'm a policeman, yes, I'm a prisons officer, but I want to really live my life in a certain geographical area. So can we find a policy? Can we do something about these transfers such that if you are transferring me within the eastern region, I'm okay with it. But I'm from the eastern region, I'm a human being, I want to live all my life in the eastern region, and then you transfer me to Nzulezu, where, yes, I'm in a force, but I don't want to live. So all my time in Nzulezu, I am unhappy, I can't give my best to the nation, and so on and so forth. So this issue of promotions and transfer, Honorable Minister, God will see you through, but when you are there, what will you want to do about these two issues that I've talked about? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, I tried to answer this question, but the assurance I will give my colleague is that working with the team that I'm joining, we'll put in mechanism to make this very transparent, and then some of the concern that you are carrying on, we'll look at it as a team and see the best way we'll be able to deal with it. Because you see, I've said it and I'm repeating, the law says at least. So if it says at least 4 years, it means that you can be there for 8 years. We should be careful, this mechanical promotion, I agree. But then what will be the motivating factor? If I get up every morning, I praise it, I work so hard, And in working hard, most of the time, as you and I may know, I even get the wrath of the institution because I make mistakes and I can get punished. Oh, you decide to sleep and just wait for the 4 years. And then the time comes, we'll all get promoted. Why wouldn't I also go and sleep? So I will all be sleeping, and then we'll just be counting the months and the years. It gets there, then we'll get promoted. So we need to strike a neat balance. And because of that neat balance, definitely there are experts, there are other ways of doing it in other jurisdictions. Together with the team, we'll put our heads together to overcome this challenge. But I will take the concern that you have raised seriously, and I assure you we'll do the best that we can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
A follow-up on this. I agree with him, but when you are recruited into the service, you are expected to work hard. But if you work harder, you can be promoted above your colleagues. And in the same vein, if you are lazy and you decide that you sleep, there are administrative queries that can be put in place such that you also don't progress. But what we are talking about is all things being equal, that you have paid your time and you have been in the service for the time and you are due for promotion. I'll move to my third question, which is on the depoliticization of the services. Honorable Minister, in the last election, 2024, there was a security task force on elections. They did quite well, quite commendable, led by the CDS and then the IGP and other heads of services. We're grateful for their service. But Minister, you realize that in almost all the polling stations across the country, the security personnel that were deployed there did nothing to stop anything that was happening, because they were not too sure who was going to win and what will happen befall them if they take an action against the other person. That is what happened at almost every polling station. In fact, what we saw on TV at the collation centers, what we saw on TV is where people were being jacked up at collation centers, and police people, military officers were just looking on because people were just not too sure. Indeed, the Electoral Commission had to, on 3 occasions, issue letters requesting for security for them to collate results. What can you do? And I'm sure when you take such an action, you get the support of Ghanaians, that the police service or the services, the 10 agencies under you, including NADMO, when there's a disaster, they check where you belong before you get support. What can you do? And all Ghanaians will support you if you embark on such an action to ensure that the services that serve Ghanaians is depoliticized. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I always say this, and I've said this 1,001 times, even on the floor of the House. If we play around with everything that we do with excessive partisanship, then everything we do become politics. And we will all pay the price for it. I agree, we need to depoliticize, and this His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as part of his vision himself, has stated that in paragraph 183 of our manifesto, that we will take steps to depoliticize our security services. If you take, for example, the example you gave about the elections, I just like, frankly speaking, how the police operated. Why? People thought that they were going to do this thing and get away with it, destroy material and do this, and they were taking the videos, the CCTV there, and as we speak, about 150 people have been arraigned before court. I can aim to make sure that justice is done, so that if you know someone who had gone violently to do something, and now he's been arrested and he's been prosecuted, and he truly gets prosecuted, next time when it is going to happen, you know. Because you see, one of the things that the police did that was good was that they refused to use firearms. Because if they had, now we'll have been counting a number of deaths. And you realize that in this election, there was not a single gun shot from the police. Some came from the military, some came from private citizens, but not the police. But all the perpetrators, as many as possible, and my text says 150 of them, I will support the team to make sure that each of them is brought to justice, no matter who is involved. Because you see, if we don't do that, and then now I look and I say, oh, this is Muntaka, oh, can you do something about it? And he get away. Why would Brian Achompong also not get away with it? But if you see that Muntaka is being dealt with, then the Brian Achompong will know that when he gets to his thing, I mean, he can't get away with it. And for me, I keep saying, I mean, Mr. Chair, my faith tells me in the Holy Quran that God himself says he hates injustice. He is just and he hates injustice. And it will be unfair for people to just do the wrong thing and use political covering and hide away from it. I will not encourage that. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has stated that in our manifesto as part of his vision. And I will support that and will make sure that the right thing is that. It's not going to be easy. It will come with backlash, but we will be determined to stand by the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to ensure that the right thing is done. So that at least, even if we don't succeed in eliminating this excessive partisanship in our security services, we'll bring it to the barest minimum. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Leader. I am generally encouraged by your posture on the promotions, on the matter of small arms, and the depoliticization of the services. I can assure you that the process that you start in depoliticizing the services, inshallah, when the next MPP government will continue from there. Now, in 4 years. On the issue of, on a lighter note, Honorable Muntaka, when you are receiving a gun salute, you have to be at attention. You were too relaxed in receiving that gun salute, and it wasn't impressive. You have to be at attention. Congratulations, nominee, and I wish you very well.
Well, Mr. Chair, I was vehemently against that shootings in my house because I told them that, no, that was why I came out, and I've since made the officer to apologize. And it's also gone viral because I don't think that that was right. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Hajia Ladi Ayamba. You have the floor, Hajia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum, Alaj. Let me start by congratulating you and saying that may the Almighty Allah continue to bless and protect you, and that His will be done.
Inshallah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to ask something which is very, very relevant because I come from the Boko enclave. I am a Moshi, you are a Dagomba. So many Dagombas behind there, so many Kusasis around, so many Mamprishis around. And we all know the route that we are coming from. That is the Moli Dabani area or route. And Nagwewa himself has his grave in my constituency, that is Pusga. So Pusga is the almighty place. Will you, as the Minister for Interior, and who will have to take up the issue of this crisis in Boko, come in and let us understand that we are one and the same people, and so we should stop all these halabaloo that is dividing us. Will you do that? And that apart, I will just say a very big congratulations to you. I wish you the best, and you take care of yourself. You know it better than I do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I can give my sister the assurance that I will be very interested in assisting the team and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to achieve that vision that he promised the Boko people, that will do everything humanly possible to ensure that peace return, not only in Boko, but all the other areas across our country that are having this packet of challenges. And that's why earlier I said the time has come for us to dispassionate about this and call for a national conference on the future of our chieftaincy, so that we'll be able to know that aside all these things that we are here, if anybody, if a UK citizen walks into this room, it will be very difficult for that person to look at us and say this person is that. Maybe apart from maybe our height and complexion, the person will not be able to differentiate us. And yet we consistently try to show that we are different. But I believe that with the commitment that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has given and his vision, me being his rep at the Minister of Interior, together with the team that I'm going to join, will support that vision to ensure that peace, permanent peace, returns not only in Boko, but all the other areas that are having these challenges. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The floor is now given to Honorable Peter Lanchini Togo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister-Designate, congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
I think I'll take this opportunity to thank His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for nominating you to this position. As one of my colleagues said, barring any last-minute change, nothing will stop you from becoming the next Minister of Interior.
Inshallah.
When you were taking your oath, I was observing you. You appear serious as a man of faith. When you find a political mentee asking his political mentor a question publicly, it might not necessarily be about me, but it's just all about the people who are watching us. Yes. You've mentored him in this house for 4 years. Mr. Minister-Designate, please, you had a relationship with the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs for many years in this house before I came. God has designed it. He is not the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. You are going as Minister for Interior. That relationship is necessary to ensure that John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, can reset Ghana in the area of chieftaincy dispute. How will this relationship, as define it, be able to assist you? Bring peace to Boko, 1. Bring peace to many of the places that we have curfews. All the curfews we have in this country, about 10, they are all chieftaincy related. So the two of you, you've been friends for years. It is for divine purpose. Take advantage of it, but tell the public, how will you leverage upon that relationship to build peace back? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the local government minister-designate, because he's not yet been sworn in, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, had been my deputy for almost 9 years of the 10 years that I was in the chief whip office. We work very closely, and you've seen he and I campaign together, and you join us in Wenchi. So the jail is there. My prayer and hope is that the cordial relationship that existed between us, we are almost like a family, will translate it into better output for the benefit of the Ghanaian population by working very hard, collaborating with even other colleagues to ensure that not only in Boko do we have peace, but all over where there are these challenges. And like I said, because in the Constitution, Article 270, the bar Parliament from even passing laws that has to do with chieftaincy, our hands seem to be tied. But what probably my colleague and I, if by the grace of God, we are able to sail through Parliament, will do is to collaborate effectively with the National House of Chiefs and Regional House of Chiefs so that they can fast track the codification of the line of succession. Because if the line of succession is documented and all of us know that, oh, after Peter comes Aji Azuera, and after Aji Azuera, it can only be Aji Aladi, it makes it easy. It takes away the doubt where Muntaka will just come and run in between, probably because Muntaka has money. or he's coming from a bigger family, or he's coming from, for lack of better word, a more vigorous family. So he and I will work very closely to assist the National House of Chiefs fast track this qualification. And I'm sure when they're able to do that, it will go a long way to help us. And let me take this opportunity to thank Kasatintin for the role that he's also playing. And we'll try to work very closely with him. Having been, Kasatintin, that has helped in the Dogbon, he's been helping in so many other places. It is our hope he will continue to provide his wise counsel and make his services available in assisting the government to be able to fast track, to get peace all these areas across our country. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor to Honorable Ntim Fojo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Congratulations, Honorable Muntaka Muhammad Mubarak, on your nomination to the well-deserved position. Given that you are a very respected member of this House, a sixth-term member of Parliament, and an experienced leader of the House, and appointed to the position of the Ministry of Interior, you will be expected, among other things, to provide advice to the President on very serious matters of security sector governance, including advice to the President on appointment or revocation of appointment of heads of various security agencies. Now, there are two schools of thoughts. One that posits that in deepening security sector governance and promoting professionalism, it is important that even when presidential turnover occurs, at a time when heads of security agencies may have served their term midway or at the beginning of serving their term, it is important to maintain them to serve the full term in order to ensure that professionalism is strengthened and integrity of the security services are strengthened. On the other side, there is another school of thought which also posits that in order to court political loyalty, when presidential turnover occurs, leadership will have to change heads of various security agencies and to revoke appointment of heads of agencies and appoint new ones deemed to be loyal to the succeeding government. Which of these school of thoughts do you belong to, and what do you promote in advising the President, considering the fact that countries or jurisdictions who have practiced the latter have eroded gains in their security sector governance, integrity, and have been on the path of declining security? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, my colleague and I have been in this house for some time, and I'm sure if he takes the hands that he will see my line of thought. I strongly believe that if we all put national interest first, and I mean well just as you mean well, why should I doubt your action? So why not allow continuity? But you also know, sometimes you come and meet a situation where, with a greater respect, I know I've met my team, and the team that I'm hopefully going to join as a member, the heads of security, and I can see the competence. But in some instances, you come and meet people that are just round holes, what we call squares in round holes, allowing that affect the national interest. Because they were not put based on national interest, they were put based on political interest. If you allow that to continue, then you are also not being fair to the national interest. So it will be very difficult to choose one side of your coin, because the exigencies and the time and the circumstances will determine which one you go for. Because frankly speaking, if all of us were very professional in the way everything gets done, why should you even be bothered about who you are coming to meet as your secretary in the office, or who you are coming to meet as the driver of the minister? If the person is so professional, you just sit and control because you are sure that the person has your back. But if the circumstances under which the person himself was given that position is questionable, and the actions and inactions of that person over the period, there are so many gaps, allowing that to continue will be injurious to the national interest. So it has to be dealt with case by case. But you cannot have this kind of one-size-fits-all. If you have that one-size-fits-all, I don't think it will be in the national interest. But just take each case and look at the merit and demerit of staying or living, and then act appropriately, and making sure that when you are also going to do that, be mindful that you are also doing that in the best national interest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just a short follow-up. Considering the experience, the extensive experience of the nominee being a leader of this House for a very long time, and his extensive interaction with the heads of the various security agencies incumbent, and during his interactions at briefing so far, out of the 10 heads of the various agencies that you'll be heading, do you find any incumbent to be possessing traits of being around a square peg put in a round hole?
Well, that would be, Chairman, that would be extremely difficult to tell, because frankly speaking, from a distance, the way you may see an individual may be completely different from when you get closer, and then when you get all the facts. So it is when I get in, then you now have to get all the facts. When you are privy to all the facts, that's when you can be able to answer whether this person is best. Because also remember, the government has its vision and aspiration. And sometimes, if for example, I am the type that will not be able to help His Excellency to achieve his vision and objective for this country, when the Ghanaians have trusted him, why should I stay? Because my attitude, my belief, my professionalism is contrary to the kind of vision and aspiration that he has. And he is the one who is being elected. Why should I be the one to say, not because I'm not good, but the match is just not there. So it is better to give way for somebody who can come and help him to achieve his objective. So once the facts are bare, I'm sure His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will not, he has stated it in our manifesto, and I want to believe that he means what he stated in our manifesto. He will mean well. He wants to leave legacy. Mine is to assist him in achieving this legacy. So we will not be acting based on favoritism, based on hearsay, based on what we want, but I want to believe that the advice, if it becomes necessary, that I will give His Excellency will be based on the best national interest, and I want to believe that he will also act in the best national interest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My last question.
Very much. Very well.
Ghana's democracy is one that is very enviable. We've gone through 5 turnovers very successfully. Even one others think that once you pass 2 turnover tests, your sterling democratic credentials we have is the rather unfortunate phenomenon, perennial across various transitions of post-election violence. You have provided responses to certain specific aspects of this, but specifically, in an earlier response to a question that you gave, brilliantly and eloquently so, that would be appropriate, and even cited an incident of killings which you are aware, and one commission of inquiry was constituted. It fast-tracked investigations and prosecutions and served justice promptly. Considering the magnitude of the post-election violence that we have seen this year, would you support those calling for commission of inquiry into specific acts, the attack on the Anglo-Gold Ashanti or Boase mine, for instance, and certain specific killings that took place in some constituencies, to augment on the already investigations and prosecutions you had identified? Thank you. I wish you the very best. I have every confidence in your ability to support the president to succeed, and I know you yourself will succeed. Godspeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend.
Chair, I can assure my colleague that I have very good experts as a team that I'm going to join by the grace of God. All these things will be reviewed. But let me take this opportunity, Mr. Chair, to say, I've been around for some time. I remember very well, I was a member of the cabinet of the late President Morse when after winning power, he insisted that we cannot continue doing this tit for tat forever. And all of us tagged him, Father for all. I remember MMDCs even had to stay for about 6 months and all that. He sacrificed, I mean, he stood the ground. We pushed. That time, many of us were much younger with a lot of youthful exuberance. I remember in cabinet, I would say, when you do this, you yourself, in your house, they came and took cars when you were not around and harassed the second lady, President Rawlings. They did this, all that. I mean, emotionally, spoke around the cabinet table. Then he said that, look, you are young. If you don't learn to forgive, God will not forgive you. So let us push all these things behind us. He did all that. Unfortunately for us, when power changed in 2017, we went back to the 2001 behavior. And it nullified the sacrifice President Mills made. I must admit, ask the police, the security experts, the post-election violence, all that we have seen. I condemn them. His Excellency General Muhammad condemned it. You remember he even called the then president to act. But believe me, they were nowhere near some of the things that happened in 2017. That is the way we need to be truthful to ourselves. That look, what is good for you is equally good for me. We should all be acting knowing that you mean well, I also mean well. It's just that this time you have been chosen over me and I'll be patient. The next time I may be chosen over you. But when we make it look as if that once I have been chosen, I have to show you where power lies. I have to step on you and step on your neck so that you can feel the pain of loss. Then this thing will perpetuate. And my fear is that one day, it may get out of hand and all of us will regret. I don't think we need to wait to get there. That is why, again, I remember very well, the late chairman of the NDC, Dr. Kobinete, I remember I was part of FEC then, when he said, look, we are in power. Let us show the good gesture first. Let us go to the NPP headquarters to visit them so that we, the political actors, will start talking so we can de-escalate the tension. I remember, that time too, I remember very young. Chairman, you want us to go NPP when we are in power? Why? You want us to look like we are weak? When we have power, why can we be seen as if we are afraid of them? He refused as elderly statesman. We went. Visited the NPP at their party headquarters. Had time, chat, and interacted. And they promised they were going to return that visit. I don't know whether it is going to happen tomorrow. So when that didn't happen, then everybody was telling, Prof, Dr. Komende, we told you. So let we, the political actors, I mean, I've been in this house long enough, and I don't say it with apology. Napo is my brother. We are like twins. We grew up together in the city, Kumasi. His father was like a father to me. My mother is like a mother to him. But he belongs to MPP, I'm in NDC. Since he became the MP for Menchia, before him, I came to Parliament before him. Before him, there was always conflict between Aswanse and Menchia. The constituents were always fighting violently. When he became an MP, and we kept that relationship, they will see him visit me. His constituents will see me visit him. Why would they fight? The fight stopped. And for almost 16 years, there had never been any conflict between Aswanse and Menchia South. So let us, we all sitting around this table, mean well, extend courtesies to each other, and think about each other in the good sense. When we do that, I'm sure most of these things will not be happening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Alhaji Alhassan Omar.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Chairman. Assalamu alaikum. Leader Juma Mubarak. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have asked a question because when I entered this parliament 8 years ago, you were my mentor. I asked questions, I learned a lot from you, and I'm still proud of you. And I know you're going to do an excellent job. I know who you are. I know your principles. I want to ask you a question which disturbs almost every minority in this country. And it is an issue concerning police brutality. Recently, the recent issue is even happened in the Ashanti region, Ejura. A suspect under police custody died without any explanation and causes, and several. Leader, I want you to tell us how you will address the issue of police brutality and ensure accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, I believe, if you could remember, someone asked a question. I was talking about the body cameras. I also believe that the time has come for us to put CCTVs in all our police stations and cells. I have my phone, and I have more than 15 different CCTVs on almost all my property. And I can sit here and view and review. When something happens, I can go back and check. They are not that expensive. But what they do to help us in dealing with all this will be tremendous. I'm going to join a team, and I believe that the team, they are experts in their own right, will go to look at the possibility of emulating other good examples by making sure that in all our police stations, we have CCTV in the child office, in the cells, in all its environs. I know I've visited some police stations, especially at the divisional level and regional, and I see that they have CCTVs around. We need to be able to get this in every police station as much as possible. Because, I mean, there are places where mine is solar. They are just solar. So they don't rely on the lights to go on and go off. But they are not expensive. So these are ideas that when I join the team, I will share with the expert, and let's see the possibility of doing this. Because when we do this, then if someone dies, we all know, you are a Muslim like me. If my time is not up, I'm sure you can hurt me, I can get wounded, but I won't die. But even when I get hurt, we can be able to review. Did you beat me? Or maybe I slipped? Did I die naturally? Or you killed me? All those things can be reviewed. And it takes away the suspicion. Because you see, the reason you see this and the violence that you see is mistrust. And sometimes because of the past credibility gap that we've had, where the police say, oh, we are investigating, nothing comes out of it, nobody hears anything. Even if they finish the investigation and maybe they even probably punish the perpetrators, the public don't know. So when something happens, they become so suspicious and decide to take the laws into their hands. But if we have all these measures like these cameras that I'm saying, that can be reviewed and be shown to the world, oh, this is truly what happened. One, the policemen themselves will be careful about the abuses, and then we'll be able to also know the truth anytime something happens. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Leader. I wish you well and congratulations.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. May I give the floor to Honorable Jerry Shai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I'm more interested in the welfare issues of the security agencies. Because, I mean, the guns would normally say that to wit who much is expected of, much is given. They do a lot of work, especially when they want to remain professional. The issues including insurance for security agencies or personnel, the issues including salaries, and where they even sleep, their attire, allowances, delayed payments in these allowances, even petty loans for them to even acquire basic cars, 1.2, 1.3 engine vehicles for them to do some movement around. Honorable, from all your answers, you've indicated that you are the man of the people. How do you intend to bridge this gap, the gap of poverty within even the security agencies? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, you're speaking to the Pope when it comes to this. I mean, when I first became member of parliament in Aswansi, there was only one police station at the airport police station. I think Commander One is here. He was then, if they gave regional commander with him, we built some more. And the shocking thing was that the barracks that they had in Aswansi, that's the airport police station, they were using pan latrine. Pan latrine. That was around 2015 thereabout. And I said, how can you dehumanize the police this way? They are using pan latrine where they ease themselves. So I built a 20-seater WC for them through the initiative of Common for Other Things. But I know currently, especially the Ghana Police Service, they've been able to create a welfare fund that other citizens are helping and contributing, to the extent that I'm told, even though I'm yet to get there to get the full facts, in the last 3-4 years, no police officer, no matter your ailment, the police themselves are able to deal with it without necessarily falling on GOG. It is something that I will encourage the other team, because I'm joining the team. So can we look at how we can emulate this with the other team? Can we get, yes, government to do more, but can we get also private individuals to support? Can people who God has endowed be able to support our security people so that they can support us? I mean, I always read widely, and I remember Carnegie, one of the richest guys in America, who says, I spent half of my life looking for money, and I spent the other half giving it out to charity. In this part of our world, we are not very good as charitable giving. Like I mentioned, what Pentecost did in assisting the prison service. Let us all learn. Yes, we'll push GOG, government, to do this, but because of the enormous nature of the challenges, if I can get all the teams that I'm joining, the prison service, the narcotics, the small arms, gaming commission, all of them, to be able to have this kind of endowment, where maybe annually we launch a program and citizens, non-governmental organizations, non-profit organizations can willingly donate because of supporting us security services. I'm sure it will go a long way to deal with most of the challenges that you're talking about. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Mr. Chair, yes. Just a follow-up. Honorable Muntaka, so what happens to those who are also looking for retirement benefits? What have we put in place to streamline and expedite pension processing for retiring security personnel?
Well, Chair, thank you very much. I mean, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in the NDC manifesto, if you check, has said that he's going to ensure that the captivity is there and then review it and improve it. That, I can assure you, that will work very closely as his representative at the Minister of Interior to ensure that this is done. Because, like I said much earlier, without morale in the services, you can bring all the tankers, you can bring all the guns, you can bring all the accoutrement. The men to man it, if their morale is low, will have a challenge. So, like I repeatedly said, we have a national security strategy. My bid is that the parts that we have to do with internal security of our country will adhere to them very strongly, and a part of it is about their condition of service. So you can be rest assured that this is something that we'll take up very seriously. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
His Excellency President Mahama is currently driving a very beautiful V8. The procurement procurement of that V8, whether or not it meets security standards, and whether or not, as Minister of Interior, you would agree that it is a presidential vehicle that properly so called? I'm asking the nominee.
Yeah, Chair. Until I don't have this fact. In fact, he's talking about four-wheel drive. I've seen so many four-wheel drive. All of us here drive four-wheel drive. If I sit here and I tell you that I know what type of four-wheel drive His Excellency the President is driving, I will be untruthful for you. But as his representative at the Minister of Interior, part of our responsibility, the team at Minister of Interior, is to make sure that the President is secured. I can assure you that when the opportunity comes, when this House, by the grace of God, approves of our nomination, when I join the team, these are things that we'll review, and definitely, if it doesn't meet the purpose, obviously we'll ensure that we'll humbly and respectfully advise the President. But remember, the President is not just a first-time President. He's been President before, and I want to believe he's very much aware of most of these things. But obviously, when we get there, we'll look at that, and if there's some advice that we can give His Excellency, why not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Still on the welfare of the security agencies, and vis-a-vis how they are seen to be dealing with the public and public trust, what mechanisms are you going to put in place to ensure that the security agencies would have a lot of stakeholder engagement with the people so that trust is reposed in them?
Well, thank you very much. I must admit that I've seen videos and pictures of the top hierarchy of the police, led by the IGP, in our secondary schools, in some primary schools, in some junior high schools, interacting with community. It is something that we need to encourage, not only the Ghana Police Service, because, for example, the Ghana National Fire Service even needs to even do more of that. But all of them sometimes hinges on resources, and this is something that I keep calling, that the non-governmental organization, non-profit organization that can assist us as a team to be able to do more of this kind of engagement. Why not? We'll be happy, because that will help the citizen to get closer, to tell us what their perception is about us, and then we'll also know, then be able to have basis for correction and improving what the team will be doing. So I can assure you that we'll be encouraging more of that to be done, the interaction with the general community. I mean, and it's also in line with the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. When you look at our manifesto, when he says that our security architecture, we are going to review it to make sure that it is more community-based. Involvement of the community should be more. So we'll be looking at that, and like I keep repeating, these are experts in their own right. I mean, they've been in the services for long. They've seen it all. They've traveled across the world. We'll put our heads together to see how we can improve and get the communities to trust us more, so that we'll be able to improve what we are doing. Thank you, Chair.
The Chairman, that will be all for the witness. I wish you very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Minority Leader and the ranking member of the committee, Alexander Akpanyu Maki.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Senior.
Good afternoon, Minority Leader.
How old are you now?
Well, based on the extrapolation that was done to be able to get me my date of birth, it says I should be about 54 now.
So, based on your date of birth on page 1 of your CV, which states you were born October 17, 1971, you are 54 now.
I should be heading towards 54.
Very well. So you are 53 now?
Yes, Minority Leader.
Senior, in 2009, how old were you? 2009 February, how old were you?
Probably around 37.
So you would agree with me that you had not reached that prime age of 40. As they say, life begins at 40, correct?
Yeah, obviously.
Now, a lot of Ghanaian youth are watching you now. First, share with us useful public life lessons you learned between that age of 37 when you came into public life and now that you are 53 back again into mainstream public life. And for the avoidance of doubt, the public life phrase as I have used now means getting into the executive arm of government. So I'm defining my public life to mean the executive arm of government.
Well, thank you very much, Minority Leader. You are perfectly right. I mean, I want to believe that even when you yourself came to this house some 12, 13 years ago, you admit that I think I was then the majority whip. I was more aggressive than today over the period. Well, as you age, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from the mistakes of others, you read more widely, you experience so many other things. So you learn so much, and the tendency for you to think and review and probably even share with others before you act is much better when you are older than when you are younger. Also, let me also say that in 2009, I just finished my first term, I started my second term, and frankly speaking, I had never worked with even any government sector. I mean, I was the type, when I completed school, never wanted to work for anybody. I wanted to work for myself. So the closest I did was to work in the private sector. And you know, in the private sector, the attitude, the way of doing things are completely different from the public sector, where in the public sector, age is matter, seniority matter, all those things matter, and what have you and what have you. And the buck sometimes does not necessarily end with you. I mean, you could be the minister, but the buck may not necessarily end with you. Today, I have been in the system for long. I've learned, I mean, you will admit, I've been even in Pan-African Parliament alone. I've been there for over a decade, travel across the world, at the continent. You see so much that makes you act differently from when you were much younger, that you didn't have the kind of experience that you have when you are in your 50s. So definitely there's a huge difference between my good self. I can tell myself that sometimes my children wonder and say, why are you tolerating this from this conference? I said, don't worry, the person is young. When he grows, he will understand. So yes, I've learned so much.
You were 37 when you entered into the executive arm of government.
Yes, Honorable Anotilda.
You had some issues with the civil service structure, and you are on record to have said that the chief directors cannot be trusted.
Well, obviously that was then. It's part of what I'm saying.
No, I gave you the opportunity to do a general overview.
Yes.
To advise the youth so that they pick something from this. Now I'm delving into the specifics.
That's okay, sir.
Right. Some of the public utterances against the conduct of the chief directors. And you know, you have done a perfect explanation of your background, that you were coming from the private sector and you saw things differently. So it made you say certain things. Today, going back in there, confronted with similar attitude by the civil service, and bear in mind, no doubt, you are going to meet a bureaucracy of permanent government workers who can give you tough time. What would be your posture?
Well, Mr. Chair, I think since I sat here, I've consistently said that I'm joining a team. I want to believe that probably in 2009, I went in thinking that I was the king. Today, I believe that I'm only joining a team. And I've drummed it again and again since morning that if I have to succeed, it is because this crop of expertise will have to come on board and let us work as a team. If we have to fail, we'll fail together as a team. My attitude is completely different. I'm, by the grace of God and with all humility, as you know, now I even teach leadership in UPSA. I teach master class in leadership. Obviously, you cannot be an effective leader if you think you know it all, or you see people as if it is you and me. But if you see leadership as playing part of the relay to get us to finish a race, and making everybody feel belonging, and everybody's view matter, and everybody feels important, even the slowest, tortoise will want to speed up to get us finish the race. So that will be the attitude that I'll be going in there, that look, we have to do this together, and I respect your expertise. What do you say? I have to be more listening than doing all the talking. I don't have to act until I'm very sure that all of us, or at least majority of us in the team, believe that that is the best way to act. So it's no longer about me as an individual, it should be about us. I think that will be the attitude that I'll be going in there with. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Leader, you have used a word king, and you juxtapose it against your yesterday. Muntaka at 37 thought that leadership meant he being a king. Muntaka at 53 believes that leadership to him is being part of a team. In a recent interview with a Joy FM journalist, you had cause to critique the leadership of the Speaker of the 8th Parliament of Ghana. Do you still hold firm those views as contained in those criticisms of the 8th Parliament Speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me clarify this. I did not criticize the Speaker. I criticized his style. And I believe that for a style, people have their varying views. I respect him. He's mentored me. We agree more on so many other things, but we have areas where we disagree. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee, so I'll give you a bit of a background by way of laying foundation. Then I will mount my question on it. Okay? You recall Donald Rumsfeld, a former Defense Secretary of the United States of America?
Yes. During George Bush Sr.
Very well. Some journalists were pestering him on some very important matters of state. They pushed him over and over again. I'll try to paraphrase what he said. That there are known unknowns and there are known unknowns and there are unknown knowns. Keep that in mind. Foundation 2. Some of your colleagues who I interacted with upon your nomination expressed joy upon the announcement because they say you are very hardworking. But we're quick to also say that when your back is against the wall, you can spill. Let me ask you, are you ready to enter your casket with some debts on you, even when you are innocent, to save the nation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would say that you are asking the Pope. I'll just give one example to reiterate this. I believe, Minority Leader, you knew how we elected Mr. Speaker into office. Everybody in this country had done everything humanly possible. I believe even including the security agencies to know which of your guys supported us, and they don't know. Because
but we know.
You don't know. It's not
we
true.
Know.
You
we
don't.
Know.
You don't.
We know.
You,
don't
I'm
go
sorry.
there.
I'm
Honorable
sorry.
nominee.
I'm sorry.
Nominee, don't go there,
I'm answering question. You ask a question. I hope you let me answer.
Well, but because you've introduced that,
because I'm saying that
we know.
You don't. You don't. You can only guess. You cannot say you know.
But do you know?
I work with people, and I vow and told them that not even my wife will know this. I will die with it, and I meant it, and I will die with it. I'm telling you that I'm going to this ministry that is security zone, an area where you talk less, you act more. I can assure you that even, I'm sure, Honorable Minority Leader, you and I, in the last few years that will be in this house, not even few.
You are inadvertently spilling.
No, I'm not spilling. I'm saying that over the period.
You are inadvertently spilling.
No, Mr. Minority Leader, I'm saying that over the period that you and I have been in this house, you can attest to the fact that there have been so many things between us that no third person has ever known. And I can assure you that no third person will ever know. Because you can trust me that when I say I am doing this with my honor, I meant I'm doing it on my honor. But obviously, like you rightly said, when you push someone to the wall, I mean, it is said in the account, when you chase a coward to the wall, you see his braveness. Yes, all of us have our values, we have our principle. It gets to a point where if your core values are going to be compromised, you rather prefer to walk away. That is a natural thing. But I can assure you that when it comes to, as people say, spilling the beans, I'll be the last anybody can doubt whether I keep confidentiality. I can be angry and be talking about it, but the details and specifics of things, you can never hear it from me. Yes, I'm human, I'm not an angel. I can have my weakness and strength. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee. Let's go back to your seat. Your residential address is provided thus: B60 Simpson Road, Boteman.
Yes, Minority Leader. Yes, Chairman.
Boteman, that area where you live, you acquired your lease from government.
Yes.
So it was estate land that you rightfully bought.
Yes.
And you have a lease covering it between you and government of Ghana through acting through the Lands Commission.
Yes.
As your leaseor and you being a leasee.
Yes.
You also agree with me that you bought that land because that area was demarcated as a residential area.
Yes.
And that you bought it with equal right as any other person, be it a Ghanaian or a foreigner with the ability to pay.
Rightly so.
How would you feel if any Ghanaian suggests to you that by mere fact that that is a government land, you have taken advantage to acquire, that therefore you are corrupt?
Well, Mr. Chair, what I will say is that I know the whole of East Legon was for the state. There are private people living there, people who had worked in government before, and others. Airport Residential was all state land. People acquired them legitimately and are living there. I don't see anything wrong if it is done legitimately and rightly. And I've heard my colleague, the Attorney General, in answering question. If the land based on this procedure that is legitimate and you are fine, how can anybody say you don't let that corrupt? But obviously, as you may know, like a chair, people have their own perceptions about things. I remember in 2013, in 2009-10, when the late Obutubilante bought the residence that he was in, and then people said morally it was wrong because if you were a minister and you were given a home, how do you end up buying it? And it went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said that it was legitimately done. So far as I'm concerned, if you buy something legitimately and others are saying that, oh, because of this, let them challenge it in a lawful manner and let it be tested. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee. What do you say to some of our compatriots who hold the view that property acquisition is a crime?
Well, everybody has his view about things. I mean, with a greater respect, you may like to take alcohol. I don't. Maybe because my religion forbids. You may like to take pork. My religion forbids me, and I accept and I don't take. You have chosen to have only one wife because your religion will not allow you to go more than one wife. My religion allows me to go up to 4, and I have 2. I mean, so everybody has his view about things, and once someone holds his view about things, and as you know, it's not challenged in a legal court to test that you are doing something illegal. I don't bother myself about that, and you know me in this house that many of you say that I have a thick skin because I don't really bother much about what you are thinking. I rather focus on what I believe is the right thing, and I try to do the best that I can and improve the Muntaka yesterday. The Muntaka of today to be better than the Muntaka of yesterday. That's my focus, but not what people go about saying. Thank you, Chair.
Back to your CV, page 1. Languages spoken and written. Hausa, Twi, Dagbani, and English. I know that some of your Dagomba friends taught you how to speak Dagbani. I don't know whether they taught you how to write Dagbani as well. Oh, I know.
No, Chair, he's right. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations, so he knows a lot more about me. Yes, I can say, Mr. Chair, permit me to amend this to cancel the unwritten. Because obviously, even the Hausa, I cannot write very well in Hausa. The only one that I can write very well is English. Even Twi, I can't write well, so it's an error or it's a mistake. So if permit me, I will amend it by just saying that language is spoken. Thank you.
Please, permission granted.
Honorable nominee, in Ghana, when a person says my hometown, in the ordinary meaning of it, what would a person be referring to? To what would lead a person to say Winneba is his or her hometown?
Well, my understanding of hometown is where you are born or where your parents are born or where your parents hail from or your grandfather hail from. So it's just too unfortunate that in our country, our belief is that make reference to only where your grandfather comes. But I think it's absolutely wrong, because if we are going to do that, then all of us will leave this country. We will all not be Ghanaians, because everybody came from somewhere, then moved to somewhere and somewhere and somewhere. So me, my hometown is Kumasi. That's where I was born and bred. That is where I have lived. I have siblings who do not even know Techiman, not alone to get to Tamale. Yes, I'm a Southerner with a northern background, and I'm proud of it. I attended Tamale Secondary School. I get to know the families. I visited Kumongu, where my grandfather hails from, and I'm happy to be at the Gumba. But I was born and bred in Kumasi, and I use Kumasi as my hometown, and I'm very proud of it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Share with us a bit of your northern background.
Well, my grandfather, I'm told, my great grandfather, I'm told, hailed from Kumu. My grandfather was born around Kumbung, grew up in Kumbung, moved in trading through Salaga and landed in Kumasi through the challenges that you know that is between the north and the south. So my grandfather died in Kumasi. His grave was buried in Kumasi. My father grew up in Kumasi, also died in Kumasi. My mother, born in Tamale and moved to Kumasi, I'm told, when she was just about 2 years, and has since been in Kumasi to today. I was born and bred in Kumasi. My father has 41 of us. I'm number 14, and all of us born, I think with the exception of 2 that my father said they were born in Salaga. All the others, 39 of us, born and bred in Kumasi. And it is Kumasi that all of us have ever known. Our assets, our larger family. Yes, we have the extended family we visit and we are proud of them. Some are in Salaga, some of my sisters married, have taken them to Salaga. Some of my sisters are in Tamale. Ras Mubarak is my direct nephew. His mother is my direct sister. She's my father's fifth born, but she married, took her back to Tamale. Some of my siblings are in Germany, some are in London, who are now British. Some are in America, who are now Americans. So I am born and bred in Kumasi, and I'm proud of that, and I see Kumasi as my hometown, and I will remain proud of being a Kumarican. Yes, and my cousin is Amin Anta. Until the funeral came, when his mommy died, and I went, then that's what the father said, what are you doing here? I said, I came to my friends. He said, no, he's not your friend. And they started telling the relation. Then I looked at him and I see one of my uncles. I see they have some resemblance. I said, oh, you see, we have an imam in Asante, the late regional imam. He's late now. He has a slogan that he uses very fluently every time he preaches, just to remind us about the peace. He said, look, everybody is in everybody's home. So be careful about what you do to each other, because by the time you realize you are related in one way or the other. So it's a very common slogan in our community, Zongo in Kumasi, Kuwa Nigerian Kuwa, to which means everybody is in everybody's home. So be careful what you do to people, because at least you wake up and realize that, oh, not knowing that the one that you are hating is your direct brother or cousin or nephew or niece. Thank you, Chair.
So, in other words, you are telling me that should I take a secret ballot on you, my respected colleague, Dr. Amin Adam, is likely to defy my orders and vote for you because you are indeed his blood brother.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think
It is not for you to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Honourable members, Honourable Amin Adam is not even a member of this committee, so he doesn't even have a vote to cast.
Honourable nominee, you have indicated to us truthfully and in all sincerity that you've acquired the government land, you acquired it rightfully, and to the extent that you acquired it rightfully and you have your lease, there's nothing wrong with it. May I know from you, still being honest with us, do you know some of your party members in leadership of your party who have acquired government lands in Cantonment, Roman Ridge, Airport Residential, you know, perchance?
Mr. Chairman, frankly speaking, I don't go about asking people about their assets and listen, frankly speaking. So if I visit, say, the chair of the committee who, we've been in this house and worked together on so many things, and I say, oh, you have a nice house. How am I going to be asked, oh, how did you acquire this land?
That's okay. I think, no.
So I just don't know. I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't know.
That's okay. Fair answer. Somebody may not like you, but your sincerity would always precede you. And I put that out for public consumption with the little interaction I've had with you. Now, do you have some of your party members who live in the Roman Ridge area, Ridge, Cantonment, Airport residential area? Since you visit them, some of your party leaders, colleagues in parliament, colleague NDC members outside of parliament, do you have some of them living in these areas? I don't want you to mention names, but do you have some of them living in these areas?
Frankly speaking, Mr. Chair, I've been scanning my mind to see who did I know. The only person that I used to visit and play tennis with, he was then the minister, Honorable Mama Yaga, when he was around the Roman Ridge. And since we lost power, he left there. I don't know, but I knew that probably he was there because he was a government official or minister, because I could see then Honorable Kumbo was next to him. So we go and play tennis together and do a lot of things together. In Roman Ridge, in Cantonment.
Okay, let's deal Cantonment specifically, currently.
Frankly speaking, I'm scanning my mind to see whether I've visited any of my colleagues in these two areas. On my honor, no. I can't recollect now whether I've visited anybody in that area. Unless if you see me around any of this area with somebody, you can ask whether, when I visited, I asked him whether he owns a house or the land. Maybe
I've moved away from the ownership. Honorable Leader, I intend to be very brief.
Thank you.
But your question, we are ordinarily entitled to follow-ups. So if you are brief, I'll be brief.
Okay. I think that's a good, what do you call it, sign you've given me. I will try to be very
And as you may be aware, your vetting today comes under a special dispensation.
I have no doubt about that, and I'm grateful.
For the very security reasons, and it's in the public interest that we take you today for the sake of our country. And as my respected colleague Kennedy Japan and Napo normally say, this is about systems and policies, not NDC MPP. So we are doing this for the country and nothing MPP NDC. I'm just limiting it to critical issues.
Sincerely grateful.
How close are you with Honorable Harun Idrisu?
I would say very close.
Do you visit him in his house? Sometimes?
Yes. Around Bank Hospital. Yes.
That's Cantonment?
Yes, I've visited him before, sorry. Yes. That's what I told you. I was scanning my mind to see.
So yes. You know he lives at Cantonment?
Yes, I know.
Very well. That's okay. Now let's deal with the time you left the majority front bench. You recall that Mr. Speaker said this to you. I want to quote Mr. Speaker on the floor. He told you that when one door closes, many more are open. Do you recall this?
Yes, I do.
How good do you feel being an interior minister today, having this statement of Speaker on the floor of the House in mind, especially when those were your very low moments?
Well, let me admit, even apart from what he said on the floor, I'm grateful to Mr. Speaker because we met in his chamber, he repeated same and advised me, you are a member of the Pan-African Parliament, look well.
You know you are going to the mosque?
Yes. So when he said that in Pan-African Parliament, not long before I became the chair of the Committee on Monetary and Finance, and that has opened so many other opportunities to the extent that if you admit, most of the time I'm not seen on the floor because I was so busy with that. So yes, once that door closed, so many others open, and I'm grateful for that.
Including this one?
Yes.
Including this one?
Yes.
Okay. Were you expecting this? Yes, no.
Well, I am the one I'm type who live by the day and put my trust in my maker.
This?
So I don't wake up expecting things. I just say the will of Allah be.
So no. In 2020, you made your 6-year-old daughter vote, correct?
Yes.
Do you regret doing that openly?
No. I mean, my belief, Mr. Chair, was that this was, I mean, I'm very fan of Khadija. She insisted she wanted to be here today. I said no, she should go to school. Very fan of her. I mean, you have so many children, but sometimes you'll be very fan of one. She said, Daddy, can I see how voting is done? So I said, oh, don't worry, when we get there, I will. So I pulled her by my side to vote. Yes, I must admit, the votes are supposed to be secret.
So in other words, you didn't consider the legality or otherwise of your action.
That's the thing.
You did it out of love and passion for
yes,
daughter.
Knowing that her seeing it and even using her hand to do it doesn't really mean anything to her apart from just having the feel that, oh, and I know what they do.
I am letting you know that it was wrong in law.
Later, when it came up, I said, oh, yeah, it's true, because one is supposed to be secret.
Did you get the opportunity to apologize to Ghanaians?
I did.
Very well. Honorable Muntaka, in 2009, when you were a young person in government, you encountered some controversies. Which controversies ended up as charged, and you were cleared. This committee will be happy to have the report of strike. That is, if you procure the copy for yourself. I say so because as public servants of the political class, our being there is driven by perception. It is therefore important that when a litigation has come to an end, we let the same public know the status of it. If you don't mind, and if you have it, would you want to share that report that cleared you of any wrongdoing?
Mr. Chair, because I relocated from my laboratory to my new place, I moved, you know how we receive documents in Parliament. I moved most of the documents to the library in my community. In fact, they are still in sacks. I'll make effort to see if I can get it. I will let you have it.
Fair enough. My very last question, so you can go to the mosque. You've assured the country today that you are a moderate politician, correct?
Yes.
You've also assured the nation today that your tenure will not tolerate partisan violence, correct?
Yes.
You are also telling Ghanaians that you don't subscribe to all the post-election violence we are having in the country, correct?
I condemn it, yes.
You also assure the nation, particularly the investor community, that you will do all you can to protect their investment in Ghana.
Yes.
You also verily assure all Ghanaians, especially your political adversaries, to be specific, the MPP members who are in opposition that your office will not tolerate political vendetta?
Yes.
On oath, you have said that you will lead your ministry to introduce reforms at our various security agencies. You still committed to that?
Yes.
Which you said on oath?
Yes.
Now, to end it all, you have praised the security agencies, particularly the police. And let me say that the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Akufo Dampare, many may have their own views about him, but I am one person who respects him, admire him, and believe that if we have his type consistently manning our police service, Ghana will be a better place. There may be some disagreement about his style, but I personally believe that what he has done for the nation in terms of security is one that we must all celebrate. What would be your own advice to anybody who would suggest that because he was an appointee of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and he's not 60 yet, an energetic, competent IGP should be removed by virtue of changing power? What would be your advice?
Well, I can assure you that when, by the grace of God, this House approves of my nomination and I join the team, definitely there will be assessment of all the team members. You know, His Excellency President Mahama has a vision and objective for which Ghanaians have voted for him. All that will be reviewed in line. And those that, in the views of His Excellency President Mahama, will be helpful in assisting him to achieve their objective, you can be rest, especially in the national interest, I will support it. But I will not be able to deal with specific individuals to give assurance that, oh, after this person, he will go. After this person, he will stay. In fact, me, myself, I do not have that power. Even as Minister for Interior, I do not have that power. I can only make a recommendation about one individual or the other to His Excellency the President. And that decision is that of the President, which all of us are serving at his mercy. So I will not be able to give any definite answer, but I can assure you, I believe, since I was nominated, interacting with them, I can see that they are breaking their back to keep us safe. They need to be encouraged. We need to support the system so that the system will continue to improve and be able to protect all of us. That's assurance you can get from it. But as to who will go, who will stay, I do not have that power. The best or the worst I can do is to recommend to His Excellency, and that is for him. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, indulge me. I've sought the leave of my respected chairman to do this one more exercise, and bear with me. You know how this our enterprise is. I take you back to 2016. In 2016, November, December, thereabout, President Mohammed's government granted some approvals for what they call clearance. We hear clearance for some public institutions to recruit. I was zoning on the security services, particularly police, immigration, fire, and prisons. This recruitment began around November and into December, after even the elections. these young men and women entered the training schools even whilst we were celebrating. And in March of 2017, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo went to Fosu, the immigration training school there, and officiated the passing out ceremony of those recruitments that took place in December. I want to ask you, there is general apprehension in town. There were Ghanaians who were recruited and are training. If you go to police training school at Tesano, there are Ghanaians, male, female, training. If you go to Fosu, if you go to Tafo, immigration, there are Ghanaian youth training, fire, training schools, all over. They are training. In fact, since I became a member of parliament in 2013, I have benefited from ministers of interior coming to support MPs that bring your constituent to allow balance. When I was in opposition, when you were in opposition, they gave you some. All MPs, they pass it through our leaders. So on authority, I know that those Ghanaian youths who are training are not MPP so-called, but they are Ghanaians who, they are MPs. I'll go there, please. Honorable, can I finish my question respectfully? No, can I finish my question respectfully? The chairman controls this meeting.
Order.
All right? I speak facts.
Please, order. Honourable member, proceed.
Very well.
Ask your question.
Be tolerant. You are a friend of this committee. I'm not going to mention names, but if you want me to mention names, I can, because we are dealing with national issues here. Please. From 2017 all the way to 2024, when elections were being held, NDC MPs got protocols for recruitment. MPP MPs got protocols for recruitment. Some. That's correct. That's a good qualifier. Some. That's correct. Ghanaian youth who bought forms had the opportunity. Would you ensure that Ghanaians who are currently in training will conduct their training peacefully, and upon completing their training, you as minister or anybody authorized by you will officiate their passing out ceremony? Honorable nominee, please, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think facts are always available to check. What I have said, and I'm repeating, is that I, Muntaka Muhammad Mubarak, I will act in the best national interest. That's, I will say on this, I'll act in the best national interest. That's all I will say.
Honorable nominee, thank you very much. I wish you all the best. You will hear from us, and that's a very mature response, and I think I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. May I humbly,
Chairman,
may I humbly, Honorable Roxanne Dafamako. Honorable Roxanne Dafamako, you don't have the floor. You do not have the floor. I do not intend to engage in this with you. Honorable Roxanne Dafamako, I least expected you to do this. You do not have the floor. Wait for me to give you the floor. Honorable members, I recognize,
Chairman, with all due respect,
the presence.
The ranking member has just said that between 2017 and 2024, every NDC member got protocol. I never got. With all, please.
Honorable members.
He said every NDC member of parliament. So please.
Honorable members.
Please.
Honorable Roxanne.
Please.
Take it easy.
I never
Honorable
got
Roxanne.
anybody.
Honorable Roxanne Dafamako, take it easy. He qualified it by saying some. I've been a member of parliament for a long time, and I know as a member of parliament, our constituents will come to us with enlistment form, and we beg on behalf of our constituents to be enlisted. When you go to beg and you happen to get it, fine. If you don't happen to get it, fine. But I don't have a situation where they will say that automatically, as a member of parliament, you are entitled to bring this number of people to be enlisted into the police service. So with all due respect, let's handle this with some utmost distance. So honorable members, I recognize the presence of Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempre, former member of parliament for Menchia and vice presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party in the just ended presidential election. Honorable members, with this, I proceed to recognize the guests seated behind the nominee who are here to give him moral support. First on my list is Hajia Zinab Ahmed, a spouse of the nominee. I recognize you with your children. Alhaji Muntala Shuabu, father of the nominee. I also recognize Augustus Andrews Nana Akwesi, Ashanti Regional Chairman, NDC. I recognize Alhaji Mohammed Abdul Wahab, Kotokoli Imam, Ashanti Region. COP retired, Kofi Buachi, Director of Operation at the Presidency. Chief Alhaji Ahmed Ibrahim, Wangara Chief, Ashanti Region. Sheikh Abdul Razak Abdullah, Deputy Regional Imam of Alusuna Ashanti. Alusuna. Very well. I also recognize Nana Kofinti, representative of Asokore Mampong, Hini. I recognize Chairman Mustafa Ayariga, Vice Chairman Asawasi Constituency. Chief Alhaji Abdul Salam Akate Kuro Balugambani Sapara II. Alhaji Yaya Umar Mohammed Mahmoud, Imam of Bolga. Alhaji Husseini Abu Dagomba Chief, Ashanti. Nana Ya Jentua, Office of the Presidency. And Lawyer Chum Barima, Secretary to the Transitional Team on Interior. You are all welcome. Honorable members, I have the pleasure to congratulate the nominee and to say that you've been here on time. Questions were posed to you, very composed, intelligent manner. You provided the answers to the questions. Once again, congratulations. You will surely hear from the committee, and you are hereby discharged.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm grateful.
Hello there, and you have just been watching the vetting of the Minister-Designate for Interior, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak Mohammed, and he is the Member of Parliament for the Asawase constituency. Just ended quite a grueling vetting over there. And a few things that came top during his vetting would be that from 2016, there have been no fire tenders that had been procured for the Ghana National Fire Service. It's somewhere that we ought to pay attention to, especially during the Christmas and even the season. The Ghana National Fire Service have seen a lot of fire breakouts in the country, and even as of this morning, one in Kumasi. And a few things as well I'll just bring to your attention. He's been mentioning that recruitment into the various security services is critical, and that he will improve on that if he successfully goes through the vetting and is being accepted. And he also says that he'll ensure that he'll eliminate excessive partisanship in the security services, which he says is currently the situation. He also mentioned that if approved, he'll review the promotion of officers, and as well, he'll ensure fairness and equity in the promotion of officers. A lot of things he's been mentioning as well. He says that will ensure that police officers on duty will have their body cameras, something that we all have been looking forward to as well. We definitely will keep an eye on that. Also said that he'll need to fast track all the documentation of state lands, and he saw how the minority leader stayed on that, especially because of some of the few things that Ora has been pursuing, and been bringing our attention to the fact that it just might not be a crime to have a public worker also own properties in some designated areas, especially in cantonments. And that was quite some cross-checking over there, almost looking like a witness in the box with a lawyer cross-examining. But also says that we need an independent police standards bureau. He also says that we need a land border strategy for the immigration services. A lot of things have been said today at the vetting. Another thing you can pay attention to as well is says that he is going to pay close attention to the Ghana prison services, especially what he will do. We definitely will get to know if he is given the nod. He says that he will leverage the Justice for All program to decongest our prisons as well, and says that he'll ensure we'll find solutions to all the decongested prisons in the country. And I already brought your attention to how some fire tenders have not been procured since 2016 after those sets had been procured, and that he's going to pay attention to that one as well. He also mentioned that we'll need to empower Peace Council to continue their work. Not new, but a gentle reminder of what the Peace Council has been doing. He also says that will ensure the use of small arms is minimized across the country, an area that has been great concern for all Ghanaians as well, and says that will ensure the proliferation of arms is also very minimized. You want to pay attention to that. Said that we need to strike a fair balance when it comes to the promotion of officers in the country, especially in the service, which means that he's rehashing that whoever needs to be promoted will be promoted fairly and equitably. He also says that he'll ensure those involved in violence are prosecuted. And let's not forget the fact that he also been commending the Ghana police on their performance during the 2024 general elections, and also says that I'll work with the chieftaincy ministry to address chieftaincy related conflicts as well. And maybe finally says that he definitely will ensure that we have CCTVs in all of our police stations. This is just a brief and a wrap of some of the things that he's been assuring the committee during his vetting, and that would be Alhaji Muntaka Muhammad Mubarak and the MP for Asawase constituency, hoping to get the nod for the Minister for Interior. You're still watching the Joy News channel. This one was quite a special requisite so that we are able to vet our Interior Minister, especially because of the security state of our country. It wasn't one that we knew of, but at least it was quite a special one that he had to do today. And so we brought you the live coverage of the vetting of Alhaji Mubarak Mohammed Muntaka. Today we are quite unsure. If there's another one, we'll definitely bring you. But just a reminder that the vetting of the regional ministers that we earlier announced has been postponed and rescheduled to next week, and trust us to bring you the coverage of all of that. Thank you for joining us. There's more on the Joy News channel. Please stay with us.
Forest Reserve was invaded.
My name is Abina, and I'm a mother of two. My husband, Kwejo, whom I like to call my first son, likes to enjoy himself after work. My daughter, Nanekia, loves nature and flowers. She wants to become a florist in future. As a result of these, they are always exposed to parasitic worms. And because I'm aware of the harm the worms can cause the human body, I protect my family with Z400 albendazole. Z400 is effective against worms such as tapeworm, roundworm, and hookworm, and it comes in the form of syrup and tablets. Z400 albendazole is good for both adults and children from 2 years and above. Z400 albendazole, good protection for the whole family.
Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers.
This advert is FDA approved.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy, chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town. Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy, chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number.
If you're running the ring, now. Tank muna mujiji iskasa mukotole. Tank no na eliki ama henyina ko. No see. So wait, ne papa. Na papa no pole eliki. Pacho ebenyense we. Ghana for. One number one plumber new. Every nekwe sa wo to tank de wonsu agumu a. So Syntex tank, mixture SINTEX. Syntex tank. Eye top. Eliki. It's me with the beer. Syntex tank, color beer whooped, size beer whooped, yeah, more. Syntex tank, the whole Ghana, you must 7 years warranty. Syntex tank, are you strong? Are you tall?
My name is Abina, and I'm a mother of two. My husband, Kwejo, whom I like to call my first son, likes to enjoy himself after work. My daughter, Nanekia, loves nature and flowers. She wants to become a florist in future. As a result of these, they are always exposed to parasitic worms. And because I'm aware of the harm the worms can cause the human body, I protect my family with Z400 albendazole. Z400 is effective against worms such as tapeworm, roundworm, and hookworm, and it comes in the form of syrup and tablets. Z400 albendazole is good for both adults and children from 2 years and above. Z400 albendazole, good protection for the whole family.
Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers.
This advert is FDA approved.
Having a car in Venezuela is really hard and expensive.
The
Dacia Duster has always been a successful model since its launch in 2010, simply because of the fact that it is so cheap. And this is the new version for 2024, which aims to be even better without getting too expensive. Let's check it out. Welcome to Rev.
The new Duster comes with 3 powertrains on offer, 100 horsepower, 130, and the most powerful variant that we're testing.
The top version is the 140 horsepower full hybrid that will also be able to drive a few kilometers purely electric.
This version comes equipped with a 1.2 kilowatt hour battery and has an average consumption of 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers. The entry-level version has an engine that can use both regular fuel and LPG.
The general driving impression in the new Dacia Duster is okay. Of course, a car in that price segment you won't expect very much, and it is clear if you step on the gas too hard, the engine will be quite prominent in the interior. You also have wind noises and you have a little bit of rolling noises from the tires. But then the moment you remember that the car has an entry-level price of under 19,000 euros, you will instantly forget about all of the noise you have in the interior. A thing that has been criticized with the previous version Duster is it didn't have a lot of driver assistance systems, which earned it a very bad review from the German automobile club ADAC. With the new generation, that is getting better, because now it has almost everything you would expect in a car in the BSUV segment. So you have adaptive cruise control, lane assist, and many more that are also, by the way, legally required for future cars. So Dacia had no other choice than to put that into their new Duster. The problem with all of these assistance systems is they will constantly beep at you. You're driving too fast, you're driving on the line, and that's why I like to deactivate them. But due to regulations, you can't keep that setting. So every time you start up the car, they will be activated again. But Dacia has a very clever solution to that problem, and that is a setting that will let you manually adjust your liking in terms of assistance systems. So let's say you deactivate the speed warning and the lane assist warning, and that is then kept in that profile. And with the button next to the steering wheel, if you press it twice, you can activate that profile of yours, and then the systems